Hey guys, welcome to the first ever the top 10 after show. This is a very special thing for me. I help run the top 10 after page or Facebook page, and for me, it's one of those things where uh, it just clicked with me what John Rocha and Matt Knost have done and what they built with the schmoes. Uh, and this crazy man decided to come to me with this idea, uh, and he decided that hey, why don't we do like a little after hour show or after show just like Profiles does? So without further introduction, here's that man, Mr. Dan Skip Allen.
Hello, I am the host of the Profiles After Show. If you watch that show, you know that I share that in Schmoville, and just like Dylan, I'm a huge movie fan, and I actually caught on to the top 10 show a little bit later than I should have. I am a huge list guy. I make lists all the time. If you go on my personal webpage from the fourth row at wordpress.com, I have lists on, I've written articles about lists and so forth, and I always come up with different lists of actors and movies and so forth and whatnot. So it just, I just was like, well, who else should I get? I mean, I got this guy who's already in charge of the Facebook top 10 Facebook page, and if he's in charge of that, he must love the show and he must love movies. So I was like, well, this is the perfect guy to reach out to and say, hey, let's try this. And I'm in Florida, he's in Texas. We're on all parts of the different country, the different parts of the country. So movie fans are everywhere, and that's what Schmoville is all about. That's what movies are all about. So I'm just so happy that me and you are able to do this, and hopefully we can bring some enjoyment into it, just like John and Matt do.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, somehow you convinced me to do this, which I had never done a YouTube video before. Even last night when I did the Profiles after show, that was pretty fun. But this I think will be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more just talking about movies, just having fun.
Yep. So what are we gonna do? You got an honorable mention? You got some honorable mentions you want to mention, or are we doing that or no?
Yeah, we'll save those. We'll save those for the end. We're gonna do it just like the guys do. We're gonna run down our 10, 9, 8. I'll let Dan go first with those, and then after that we'll go to the next two, and then we'll just rattle them off one by one till we get our final list. So Dan, why don't you go ahead and get us started with your 10, 9, and 8?
All right. Oh, this is gonna be. I just can't wait to see your reactions to these. I got a. I'll tell you what. I got a movie that this gentleman in this movie, he just died not too long ago. Robin Williams, and this is an absolute classic. You talk about just Matthew Modine. I mean, just Robin Williams. Dead Poet Society is wow. What a gem of a movie. And if you don't have that on a list of coming of age movies, yeah, I don't know if you know anything about movies or coming of age movies. So I got Dead Poet Society at number 10. Um, I got number 9. You know what? I wasn't always a big Wes Anderson fan, but as his movies started picking up and he started doing more movies that were just had a lot of just levels and layers to them. And this one, it came out about 2 years ago. I think I don't know, 2.5 to 3 years ago. I just felt for these kids in this movie. But then the cast: Bruce Willis, Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton. I mean, ridiculous cast Wes Anderson got for this movie. Moonrise Kingdom. I absolutely. Oh wow, what I could watch that movie over and over and over. It's such a gem. And when we did the Profiles After Show on Wes Anderson, I think I had Moonrise Kingdom as my number one Wes Anderson film. So
Wow.
I had to include that in my top 10 coming of age film. Those two kids in that movie, wow, they are phenomenal. I mean, I don't think we've seen them since in anything.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing they've been in. That's number 9. And I know somebody, Christian, was giving John Rocha and Matt Knost a hard time about this on the podcast the other day. And I'm like, oh my God, they don't have that movie on their top 10 coming of age films. I mean, Ezra Miller, is a revelation. And obviously, we need to talk about Kevin, but he
Yeah.
plays a different side of him in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And then, oh, you got, oh God, now I can't think of the kid's name, the main star in it.
Logan Lerman.
Logan Lerman, another good young, had rumors that he could be cast as Spider-Man, stuff like that, before the whole Sony and Marvel thing happened, which I would have been interested to see Logan Lerman as Spider-Man. But he's great in this. God, just a great. Very rarely do you have a book that's translated into a movie, and the movie might actually be better than the book. And that's where I think you would have to say Perks of Being a Wallflower. Wow, just what a great indie gem. Came out a couple of years ago. All right, now it's your turn, Dylan, or you can respond to mine or whatever.
All right. Let's see how I'm gonna do. But number 10, I got Dazed and Confused. Now I know in a lot of people's it's gonna be higher. For me, it was just one of those. It was one of those like I have to put it on the list just because of what the movie did, what the movie was. Obviously, you got the beginning of McConaughey's career, and it's one of those where, like I said, it had to be on there, so that's why it snuck in at the 10 spot. For 9, it's gonna be Boys in the Hood for me. That was one of those where it was what's his, John Singleton's directorial debut. Probably his best movie. He's in, I'm a personal fan of Shaft too. But he did that, Four Brothers. Kind of took all the sides of, you got the athlete trying to get out of that situation. You got the guy who succumbs to the situation in Ice Cube, giving into that kind of life and all the drugs. And then you got Cuba Gooding Jr. and his father, played by Lawrence Fishburne. And it's a terrific movie. I think it was nominated for 2 Oscars, didn't win. It was for Best Director and Best Screenplay. And then 9 or 8, we can actually talk about it a little bit more, but I have Perks there. So it just happened to work out. We put it in the exact same spot.
Wow.
But I completely agree. It completely showed off Logan Lerman's acting ability. I mean, when I first saw him, he came out with Percy Jackson, Three Musketeers before that, and it was okay. This could very easily just be another one of those young faces, kind of like it for a while. It looked like Zac Efron was going to be until he turned it around, and then all of a sudden Perks came out, and I wasn't expecting much with Emma Watson being in it too, and it just completely changed the careers, I think, of all 3, Ezra Miller, Logan Lerman, and Emma Watson. Like you said, beautifully directed and probably better than the book, which not many movies can say.
No, definitely not. Yeah, just a great, great underrated gem of an indie movie with 3 great young actors. I think Matt Knost had this one on his list, and I don't know why John Rocha didn't have this on his list, but I don't know why you wouldn't. This is the epitome of coming of age movies. It travels the life of a boy, Eller Coltrane, for 12 years of his life. This is if there is ever a coming of age film, this is the movie. And this movie really meant a lot to me last year when it came out. It was my number 1 film of the year last year, and I had seen over 175 films in the year of 2014 in the theaters. And Boyhood was my number one film. I got called out on Twitter by Steve Zissou, otherwise known as Justin Bass, because I thought Boyhood was an absolute lock to win the Best Picture. And Ethan Hawke and Patricia Arquette as the parents, absolutely fantastic. Oh God, I love Boyhood. I can talk about Boyhood all day, every day.
Let me jump in just real quick. I left it off my list.
Oh God.
Yeah, the reason is I kind of understood, I guess, where Rocha was coming from in that uh, I understand completely when it strikes a chord with you, and it is the epitome of the coming of age movie. But at the same time, for me, it just I don't know. For me, it just didn't strike. It was one of those where I had to sit through it, and it's just it just for me it dragged on a little too much, and just I don't know. Maybe I was just expecting a completely different movie, and maybe I need to go revisit it again. But yeah. As soon as you said that, I kind of had to chuckle.
Yeah, I mean, it just resonated with me so much, Boyhood, especially some of the scenes with Ethan Hawke and the father, and then the scene at near the end with the mother, Patricia, where he's going off to college and stuff. Trying to
Yeah,
find yourself. Obviously, photography was the thing that helped Eller Coltrane find himself, and movies and sports is the two things that helped me define who I am as a person. So very similar when it comes to that sort of stuff. I had number six, another just a couple years ago, just a gem. Two great young actors who are just coming into their own right now. Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley. If
uh,
you don't think this is a freaking great movie, you just don't have a clue about anything, because The Spectacular Now was phenomenal. I mean, what a just great movie. Miles Teller, you knew he had it. Rabbit Hole and Whiplash, but Spectacular Now is between Rabbit Hole and Whiplash. And
yeah,
then you're like, oh, we got a new we got a new De Niro on our hands, or a new Pacino or something on our hands. This kid's got it, you know. And he's not that far. He's from around here somewhere where I live in Florida, about a couple hours away, I think.
yeah. Well, for me, that it's funny that you mentioned it because that's my 7-1. Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that Perks and Spectacular Now both made it. I thought I was gonna have to justify why they were on the list, so this just completely makes it so much better. Um, yeah, no, I completely agree. It was one of those where, I mean, you look at the premise of just this popular kid has everything going for him, just likes to drink too much, likes to party too much. I mean, this could have been a throwaway Lifetime movie, and instead it turned into, I think it was my second favorite movie of that year. Um, it just completely caught me off guard. You have Miles Teller playing Sutter Keeley, Shailene Woodley as Amy Finicky. It was just, then you got, you throw in Brie Larson, Kyle Chandler, Jennifer Jason Leigh. And it's just, everything just worked for me for that movie. In my sixth spot, I got Almost Famous. Uh, this is one of those where uh, I think it's this low because I haven't revisited it in a while. It's one of those where if I revisit it, it's probably going to make it higher. But I mean, you look at Kate Hudson's performance. It was one of those where it really showed her acting ability, and probably the only movie that showed most of her acting ability. Frances McDormand is just terrific in it. Um, it got nominated for both Kate Hudson and Frances McDormand, best film editing, best adapted screenplay. It was just like I said, it's one of those that it's almost painful that I haven't revisited it, which is why it's this low on the list, and that's probably the only reason.
Well, I'll tell you, I forgot about Almost Famous,
Ooh,
and I saw when I was watching Top 10, I saw Matt Nose had it on there. I was like, oh no, I forgot that it's a coming of age story. See, I think of it more as a movie about music. And I'm thinking, oh wait, the main star is a young kid, and it's based on Cameron Crowe's life. I was like, oh well, I guess I forgot about that one. There's so many great coming of age movies. You just can't have all of them on your list. So I and Cameron Crowe is one of those directors. I couldn't even get a profiles after show on Cameron Crowe because I couldn't get enough people that actually liked or saw most of his movies. So Almost Famous is usually unanimously everybody's favorite Cameron Crowe film, and it's mine. And for whatever reason, I didn't put it on my top 10 coming of age films. So I guess it's my turn. I got to go with number 5. I'm a little older than Dylan. I'm probably a little older than most of the people that are in Schmoville and whatnot. So this movie, this little gem with a gentleman by the name of River Phoenix, I think is River Phoenix plays God, wow. These kids are just walking along. There's railroad tracks and stuff. It just hit home as a kid, just hanging out with your buddies, walking around the woods, doing all kinds of getting into trouble, doing all kinds of weird odds and ends and stuff. And Stand By Me, I don't know. I haven't seen it in so long, but as a kid, it was just like you felt like it was about you. You and your buddies just roaming around and doing different things and getting in trouble, and they got a dead body on their hands and all kinds of crazy stuff. But wow, I loved it. I think it was Corey Haim. Is it Corey Haim that's in it too with River Phoenix? And
I think Feldman. Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman, that's it. Corey Feldman, that's right. But I had Stand By Me at number 5.
Yeah, and then we'll get to it. I have it a little bit higher. But for me, my number 5 is one you already talked about. It's Dead Poet Society. Just because Robin Williams is my favorite actor, and oh Captain, my Captain. Actually, when I found out he passed away, that's what I put on my Facebook. And it's one of those movies where you see two sides of the same coin. You see when one person enters somebody's life and the effect it has in both the extremely positive and the extremely negative way. You look at Ethan Hawke sorry, I got Mission Impossible on the brain. I almost said Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hawke was just terrific in here. Just playing off and being that shy character, that guy who just doesn't know exactly what he wants out of this. Even you got Josh Charles in there, Sean Leonard Williams, I think is the last name. I can't remember his last name. But the gentleman from House, who ends up, obviously gets the bad side of that coin that we were talking about. For me, that's why it has to be at my number 5.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about Dead Poets Society. I could go on and on. I mean, when you think about man, Robin Williams, that and Good Will Hunting automatically come to mind, and it was cool about Alicia and Scott doing the profiles right away on Robin Williams after he died. And we got to go, and I got to watch. I think I watched 10 Robin Williams movies preparing for that week's profiles. Because
that's a good 10 movies.
Huh?
That's a good 10 movies then.
Yeah. So I have let me see here. Oh wow. Just an absolute classic. And it's such a classic that I think something like 30 years later they did a car commercial during the Super Bowl a year or so ago, and people thought they were going to do a sequel to it. They thought there was a sequel to this movie coming, and it was kind of like a April Fool's joke in a way, but it was just a car commercial. Matthew Broderick, wow. Just what a great you talk about coming of age. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you don't have Ferris Bueller's Day Off in your list of coming of age movies, I don't know what's wrong with you. You just need to give up. You just need to give up watching movies because this is I don't care what decade it came out in. And I'm a little older, like I said, so it really resonated with me when I was a kid. I think it came out in like 84, 85 or something like that. But I was like 11 or 12 at the time, but I don't know I don't know what year it came out. I don't have the year. I bet Scott Mance would know exactly what year it came out.
Oh, definitely. He always does.
He knows his dates. But yeah, I got Ferris Bueller's Day Off at number 4.
86.
86.
Yeah. And funny story, we can go ahead and chop this down. I got it at number 4, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
No.
Yes, way. This is one of those where, I mean, not much more can be said about it than we both already said, than you said, and it's such a fun movie. Breaking of the fourth wall, even the after credit scene, breaking of the fourth wall. Why are you still here? And it's such a fun movie. Just recently saw it, maybe about a month and a half ago, and about 3 or 4 of my friends had never seen it. And we were just going through Netflix one night and just, hey, why don't we watch this? I've never seen it. I was just shocked, and they loved it, even nearly 30 years later, and it still resonates with everyone. Just such a fun movie, and obviously, just it's just a perfect day out, the one that everyone wishes they could have had, and that's why it had to sneak in at number 4.
No, you're right. I mean, I think we've all skipped school once or twice and just got into. Nobody had a day like that when they skipped school.
No.
Like sick.
No. I don't think there's even enough time in the day to do what they did, but it was still terrific.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I'm a little older, so there's going to be movies that are going to be older movies, and it's good to see that you found some of these movies and you're putting them on your list, Dylan. And one that is an absolute classic, and I think a lot of people probably have on their or I'm crossing over my shows here. Top coming of age films is The Breakfast Club. Just all of these actors really became stars after The Breakfast Club.
So guess what my number 3 is?
The Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
Wow, this is so crazy. And folks who are watching, or if you are watching eventually, we did not talk, just like Matt and Don, they did not talk about how they come up with their lists or what they put on their list. We did not talk. I did not talk to Dylan about what he had on his list.
Yep, and it was extremely hard to not, because I was so tempted to be like, hey, so what? Just run it down for me real quick, just so I can write them down. And I was like, no, I got to keep to what Matt Knost and John Rocha do, and it's completely surprising how similar our lists are. And we basically just started talking movies maybe yesterday.
But it also says that how knowledgeable you and I are about movies, that we got these movies on our list of something. We could have any movies on our list, but it goes back to the intelligence level of us when it comes to, and I'm in Florida, you're in Texas, about our movie knowledge.
Yeah.
That's part of what it is.
All right, yeah. So so go ahead and talk a little more about Breakfast Club.
Well, you got Ali Sheedy. You got, I forget all the actors' names. What's his name? He was in, something C. Hall, right?
Michael C. Hall.
What?
Or Michael Anthony Hall.
Michael Anthony Hall.
Yes. Yeah.
Michael Anthony Hall. Oh God, I have these names on the tip of my tongue, Dylan, and I can't. You probably have them in your notes. I know it.
You got Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson. Yep.
Oh, and obviously Emilio Estevez. And then let me see the last one. That's gonna bug me if I don't find that. But yeah, go ahead and just the story of five people from all types of cliques and cliches coming together, and it like I said, it's one of those, you look at the premise, it's nothing more than a Lifetime movie. It's what John Hughes does with these characters. Even the principal, Looking at him coming in and being this, just this uh, could have been a classic hard ass principal. Instead, turns out you don't really like him at the end, but you understand him. You understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's they're all different kinds of people, and for them to all find each other and to find something that they have in common, and is what's great about that movie, and that's what high school does. You got all kinds of kids and people, races and creeds and genders, and people from all walks of life, and whether it be sports or getting into chorus or playing, getting in the a lot of times they have stage acting things, and so you get kids from all kinds of walks of life, and that's kind of what the Breakfast Club is just a bunch of guys and girls that just all came together.
I mean, even the tagline for the film was, there's a couple of them. There's they only met once, but it changed their lives forever. And there's five strangers with nothing in common except each other. And both of those just speak perfectly about what kind of movie you get. And like I said, John Hughes just pulls it off like nobody else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. John Hughes, that was a fun profile. And I hate to keep bringing up profiles, but I just, when we talk about these movies, I'm thinking, oh, I remember that, from what Scott and Alicia say. But, I don't know whose turn it is. Since we both had the Breakfast Club, does it go back to me? Does it go back to my turn? Or your turn?
Yeah, go ahead and go back to you.
All right, well, we were talking about John Hughes movies. These are the two that really, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club, and this one, 16 Candles.
Yes.
You talk about just an amazing Molly Ringwald. What's his name, Long Ding Dong or whatever, the Chinese. There's so many laughs in 16 Candles, but once again, it's just about kids, teenagers, high school kids, oddballs, different types of kids, but John Hughes just found a way to capture that kind of movie, those kind of characters, and he did it time and time again. And so my sister loved 16 Candles. This is one of her favorite movies when she was growing up, because she was around. She was older than me, and so this is a movie that really reminded her of herself. And I think a lot of girls her age could recognize with the Molly Ringwald character.
Right. No, and that's just to touch on that real quick, was it was tempting to put it on the list, but it's one of those, it probably pops in for me at number 12. I didn't have necessarily the older sister to relate it to. Terrific John Hughes film. But it was one of those that I almost had to decide between it and The Breakfast Club, between them, to get on the list. And it's just for me that Breakfast Club snuck in there because I've rewatched that thing probably at least 2 or 3 times a year, or I'll just see it on. And it's one of those, you can just pop it on, doesn't matter where it starts, and you're gonna have fun watching it.
So it's your turn.
And then for my number 2, the film that you talked about earlier is Stand By Me. For me, growing up in Texas, there was a lot of times where you just walk around, hang out, go for your own adventures. You create your own, your imagination just basically creates your own fun. And for me, this signified all of that. Like you had touched on, you got River Phoenix just kills it in the role. You got Jerry O'Connell, you got Corey Feldman, and then like you mentioned, Will Wheaton, and even can't forget to mention even Kiefer Sutherland in there, very very young Kiefer Sutherland, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. Like you had touched on it earlier, but for me, it just because living in Texas and everything, it just resonated with me. It just stuck with me right there at that number two spot. But for me, that number one, I got a feeling we have both in common. But let's go ahead and hear your number one.
Actually, my number one was your number 10. I got dazed and confused at
Okay.
number one, and I'll tell you the reason why. I have a buddy. This movie means a lot to him, and so I watched it thinking, okay, if it means a lot to him, then I want to watch it, and I want to try to see if it can resonate with me. And then when we did the Richard Linklater profiles back around Christmas, I watched it again, and I'm like, yeah, I remember being that geeky freshman and having people pick on me and not knowing what I was going to do. And then eventually you just start figuring out your niche in high school. And then you have the big bully by Ben Affleck, O'Banion. And then and then the thing is, I've always had friends that are older than me. Most of my friends are in their 50s right now, or, or 60s, even their 60s. I have a lot of friends that are upwards of 10 or 15 or 20 years older than me because I got into coaching and stuff like that. And so most of my friends are coaches and stuff. So the Matthew McConaughey character, being he was an adult standing outside the store, and the kids just like thought he was like this cool dude. I mean, I want to be like him. He's the cool guy, even though he was like all the girls, they stay. I keep getting old, and they stay the same age. So it's like kind of a little bit of a perv there, but of course, our classic line that, of course, now everybody knows associated with Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. Yeah. So I put Dazed and Confused. Then you have, what do you got? Mila Jovovich is in there. I mean,
yes.
And Ben Affleck and Matthew McConaughey. So many just people. You're like, wow, what the heck? I mean, if you didn't know about this movie, you wouldn't know that these stars of today are in that movie. Richard Linklater, really, that was what put him on the map as a filmmaker. So I got Dazed and Confused.
Funny enough, I don't have that obviously at my number one, but I do have another Ben Affleck film, one that he's mentioned, Robin Williams, very near and dear to my heart. Number one's going to be Good Will Hunting for me. The Gus Van Sant movies. And it did something just to show from just being this, hides in there as a janitor, just being the smartest person in the room, and nobody knows it. As opposed to somebody walks in the room and everybody knows it. And then just this progression of the character of always wanting to stay the same, and never realizing that he's changing along the way. Before, at the very end, he just decides to up and leave. He uses Robin Williams' line on him, and just the play, like I said, between Robin Williams and Matt Damon is just it's obviously Oscar winning. That's why it had to be my number one.
Well, I absolutely love Good Will Hunting, Dylan, and I mean I'm right. Everything you said about that movie, I agree with, and it's one of my favorite movies. I guess I didn't recognize it as a coming of age film. I looked at Ben Affleck and Matt Damon as adults.
Right.
I looked at them as young people, and I looked at it, and where it resonates with me is young adults looking to find themselves, knowing that they're intelligent, knowing that they have a place in society, but where is their place in society? Are they going down the right path? That's how I recognized with Good Will Hunting in the Robin Williams as a father figure type. And like I said, I have some of my best friends I know today are all men that are 10 or 15, 20 years older than me. And I have father issues. And I talked about it last night when we talked about Raging Bull, how Jake LaMotta reminded me of my father. Well, I have these coaches and people that I coach sports with and people that I met in the town, a boss and a drinking buddy that these are like father figure types. And that's where the Robin Williams character to me was like a father figure. And so I guess I just misinterpreted Good Will Hunting, or I interpreted it differently than you.
And that's a great thing, about film. It's all subjective. It all depends on your own personal stories. And that builds. So, all right. So I have our list down. We're gonna have to. I think this should be pretty easy. So right now, let's see. We got at 3. Um, both had Ferris at 4.
And you're, I don't know if you can hear me, Dylan. I'm not trying to interrupt you or anything, but you're breaking up, and I'm having a hard time listening to you right now and seeing you.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just had the same. You got it? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There. I was just saying about our lists to create. Did you want to create one list just like the guys do?
Yeah, sure. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to be that hard to work with. I'll give you Good Will Hunting at number 1. I think it's a great movie. We both have Dazed and Confused, so we can move that down on our list somewhere. You know.
Why don't we do? Let's see. Give me Goodwill at 1.
Yep.
All right. Why don't we do Goodwill 1? We'll do. We'll do Breakfast 2, Ferris 3, Stand By Me 4, and then I'll give you 16 Candles at 5.
And then 6, 7, 8 are all the same, right?
And then we got 8 is Perks. And then, Spectacular. I'll give you Boyhood at 6. We'll put Spectacular there too.
At 7?
Or Boyhood at 7. And we'll move up Dazed and Confused right before 6, or right. It will go right after 16 Candles, or right before 16 Candles. So that'll be our 5. And then we'll go 16 Candles 6, Spectacular 7, Boyhood 8, Perks 9. So what do we forget? Oh, and then we'll go Dead Poets 10.
Yeah, that sounds like a good top 10 coming of age. I can live with that, Dylan. I mean, you work with me good on getting at least Boyhood in there, and a lot of them we agreed on, so that wasn't that hard to do that.
Yeah, that made this a little easier than the guys. All right, so we're gonna go for the top 10 after shows, top 10 list of coming of age. We're not gonna do the drum just like John Rocha. I'm not gonna do the guitar announcing, but here we go. At number 10, Dead Poet Society. Number 9, Perks of Being a Wallflower. Number 8, Boyhood. Number 7, Spectacular Now. Number 6, 16 Candles. Number 5, Dazed and Confused. Number 4, Stand By Me. Number 3, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Number 2, The Breakfast Club. And number 1, Good Will Hunting. So there you go. I mean, that was the first episode ever of the Top 10 After Show. Dan, why don't you go ahead and tell them some closing thoughts, and then go ahead and tell them where we can find you at.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this is a real solid list that we created between Dylan and myself. I think you got modern classics, you got older movies, and you got movies that go from the last 30 years. So it's not just it doesn't matter if you're in your 40s, your 30s, your 20s. There's going to be movies on this list that everybody can resonate with, that would resonate with everybody. And if you haven't seen any of these movies, please do yourself a favor.
Oh, absolutely.
Go out and Redbox, buy the Blu-ray. I don't know, instant download, whatever is out there for you to do. Go see these classic movies. And I mean modern classics and old classics, because they're all classics. And you got great directors that have made some of these movies. John Hughes, Cameron Crowe, Richard Linklater. So some great directors have made some of these films.
Absolutely.
And obviously we have 2 movies on the list. If you aren't a big fan of Robin Williams, please, once again, go see some of Robin Williams' movies. This guy was a comedic genius, even though these are 2 of his best dramatic roles he was in Dead Poets Society and Good Will Hunting. You can always find me, Dan Skip Allen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. I'm the host of the Profiles After Show. I post that on my personal Facebook page, and Schmoville. I do the Schmoville Movie of the Month poll, which should be coming up sometime next week for the month of July. I have another show called The Best Damn Movie Show with my co-host Vinny LaSpada, which is a little bit of a video show that we do. We talk about movies, reviews, news, the whole clue, everything. So if you want to do something like that, a little bit of a different thing. And obviously, hopefully, Dylan and I will be doing this for a while to come, because this is really enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. For myself, you can find me at Dylan E55 on Twitter. Just go ahead and search up Dylan Esposito on Facebook. I'll be on Schmoville. I'm an admin there. I run the box office breakdown page, run the top 10 page. So you'll probably find me commenting or posting anything on there. And I will definitely be doing this. This was a lot of fun. And then I'll be joining the Profiles After Show pretty much as often as I can for that, because that's just as much fun. And it's a whole different beast than this one. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end this show. Hope you guys had a good time. And obviously, special thanks to John Rocha and Matt Knost. Go ahead and follow them at Matt Knost and at The Rocha Says. And you can go ahead and find them on SK Podcasts at youtube.com. Go ahead and search that. Give them a like. Go ahead and like their Facebook page, The Top 10. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close this out. Y'all have a good one.